common misconception is that people think of interior design only as interior improvements.
A client will call us in and they'll be like, oh, just ignore my lawn. Let's just go in. And we're able to be like, okay, we can take a look inside, but we're also able to do something about that lawn that we can tell you're very uncomfortable with.
Hi guys, my name is Wanesi Musalia. I'm an image consultant and I'm also a lover of fine places and spaces. And today I've just done an amazing walkthrough courtesy of Fine Urban Interiors in this beautiful project in Nakuru. And my host with the most, or is it hostess with the mostess?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Cynthia and I have really explored some of the aspects of what it takes to have a very fine urban interior experience. Cynthia, my mind was blown on several occasions throughout this.
Yes.
And a common misconception is that people think of interior design only as interior improvements.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, there's so much that goes into interior design, from the exterior, from the entrance to landscaping to name it.
Yeah, we do actually get that quite a lot, where a client will call us in and they'll be like, oh, just ignore my lawn. Let's just go in. And we're able to be like, okay, we can take a look inside, but we're also able to do something about that lawn that we can tell you're very uncomfortable with. Because if you were really happy with your lawn, you wouldn't ask us to ignore the lawn, right? So what we aim to do is generally transform your living experience from the moment you get into your gate.
I love that statement. Transform your living experience.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we aim to do. And I think on this particular project, you can really see it from the gate. Not even from the gate, from the outside of the gate. We started from the outside because it really doesn't make much sense if you really think about it. You have this beautiful home you've transformed the inside of, and it's amazing, but people really have to walk through a lot of muck before they can get there. And it's kind of jarring to the brain to be like, oh, okay, these two experiences are so different. Like, what is that? Yeah. So what's the point of enjoying the inside and really having like a terrible outside of your house?
For me, what strikes me is the fact that you can envision a scenario and create it from scratch. It's almost like you are architects, contractors, builders.
Yes.
This very spot that we're sitting in did not exist.
This was not a place that existed anywhere on here. So it's the structure that really we came in and we were able to erect. We came in, we saw the space, and we thought, what can we do? What is the best use for that space? You have several different options, but you have to look at what really makes sense for the project that you're working on. And we landed on having a gazebo, but not just any gazebo. There are certain features that had to be very particular to this. Now, we're currently in Nakuru. It's very hot, so we couldn't have anything that was too solid or too closed off. So you can tell this structure is made of mainly glass, aluminum, and steel. And we have openings on all sides. Like, you can open it up so that you can have that ventilation and it doesn't get way too hot. So having such structures is it's an element of landscape design, because you have to think about it. This area was just grass.
So my question is, I look at it looks like there are different levels on the outside of this home.
Yes.
From the parking lot area to this amazing outdoors space that we have there, to the nice beautiful lawn down at the bottom with all of that benching and seating.
Yes.
What does it take to actually get this level of elevation? Do you have to add an extra layer of soil? What does that actually take to get these different levels?
So what you look at when you first come in is how does the land naturally fall? Is there areas that are higher or lower? So sometimes you have to dig up, or sometimes you have to add. Now in this project, the land was flat throughout, but there was towards the end, it did kind of slant. So we knew that it would be quite the chore to actually have to build that up. But it actually fell at a really good place because we were able to use that to our advantage and create a whole different section. So you can see that we really just worked with what was there and just helped it to come out a bit smoother and created those different sections.
And when Fine Urban Interiors starts on a project,
Yeah.
who bears the responsibility of seeing what the final product looks like? Is it the client? Is it the designer? Or is it a combination of both parties?
It's really a collaboration.
Okay.
Because the last thing you want to do is put in something someone doesn't need.
Right.
You could put something very beautiful in someone's landscape, and at the end of the day, if they don't like it, they don't like it. So you have to collaborate. The designer comes in, they have their vision, because sometimes our clients do need that assistance. And then you go back and forth, like, okay, will that be something you would like? What are the benefits of it, having that instead of something else? So they really do collaborate from the get-go, and then that ensures the end product is something that makes both parties happy.
So it looks like there's quite a lot of convincing and persuasion and collaboration that has to happen between client and designer.
Yes.
Because sometimes the client might do something that the designer would feel, I strongly suggest you go in a different direction.
Yeah.
And sometimes the designer will do something that is not to the client's taste.
Yes.
Finding that balance and that compromise, especially of a project where you look at this and it's not, I wouldn't think that such a project is cheap.
Yes, I'm not at all.
There's a lot of money involved in something like this.
Yes.
So how do you maintain that nice harmony between client and design?
I think the best way to go about that is really just making the client understand the reasoning behind things. As you said, it's not cheap. So someone might be apprehensive because it feels like, no, that's just another method for you to try and get deeper into my pocket. So at the end of it, it's really about patience and really being able to make the client understand why it makes sense. And sometimes you put things on hold and like, okay, we cannot agree on this right now. So let's work on the things we can agree on. And then we give you time to really think about it. And then usually at the end of it, they can see what the vision was and we can come together and really execute the things.
And what I liked when I spoke to the head of design at Fine Urban Interiors was, you know, a project like this, for example, the initial idea was to come and do a full-on renovation of just the house, which structurally was quite expensive.
Yes.
And I think what happened was the conversation went in a direction where Fine Urban Interiors said, look, there's actually a cheaper way to do this.
Yes.
If we just do a little bit of structural adjustments here and there, work with what we have, but just accentuate and add to the property.
Yeah, that's definitely, we always want to work within our client's means. There is a good interior designer knows how to do that, because sometimes you might come in with ideas, but the budget is way too high. Like the client just cannot afford to do things to that level. So you have to come down and compromise and figure out what works. Now for this project in particular, we were lucky enough that we were given that leeway. They were like, we trust you and come in and do what you can. Now, one of the things that we like to say is we like to increase the property value, right? So, and the things that we add really have to play to that.
Got it.
Because you never want to put in something that you're like, oh, 90% of the people who would come here, that would not be it for them. But you have really not done anything. So when we come in, we touch everything. Like if you walk around the landscape of this property, just the landscape, you can see we have cabros, we have tile work that we put all around the house.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah.
There's a walkway.
Yeah.
There's a very nicely tiled walkway that goes all around the house.
Yeah, it goes all the way to the laundry area, to the dog kennels, because there's areas that I feel like if you don't find a good interior designer, they can ignore and be like, that's the dog kennel.
Right.
We don't need to put tiles there.
Right.
But no, we want to completely transform your landscape and really just make it, I keep saying this, but your dream home. Like
Right.
that's the vision, that's the end goal.
Well, the term that was used here right at the beginning was transform your living experience. And I can certainly say that the client, the owner of this project, their living experience has been transformed for the better. Thank you for watching. Keep up with Fine Urban Interiors on all social media platforms. And if you're lucky enough, we could be there to transform your living experience.